Hey everyone, today I am in Adams, Oklahoma. And this is your typical small town that you'll see in Oklahoma. It has a little post office. There's not much else going on. There is this old store that I'm having trouble figuring out if it's still open or not. So we may take a peek in through the windows, but that's not the main reason why we're here. Let me show you this. We're here to take a look at this grain elevator, and as you can see, it's leaning big time. Pretty unique. Now this was built in 1929 and it stood here for a long time, but it hasn't been in operation. It's actually condemned, but it is on the National Register of Historic Places. It's not something that you want to go inside because it has a serious lean to it. It's leaning to the north, but everything that I can see about this place is that it would shift according to how the wind was blowing. So in other words, if the locals wanted to know which way the wind was blowing for the day, they didn't look at a weather vane. They came out and looked at the tallest thing in town, which was this grain elevator, and paid attention to which way it was leaning. They can't really explain why it's still standing with this much of a lean, but it's pretty much the leaning tower of Oklahoma. And so there's been some talk lately that they're going to tear it down, and I wanted to make the trek up here and document it before it actually was either torn down or fell. So the other thing that I've heard is that it's no longer swaying to the wind direction, that it has this permanent lean to this side right here. But you can tell if it does fall, it's definitely going to take out that structure right there. I've never seen anything like this before. There are a lot of grain elevators in Oklahoma. In fact, now this is big compared to everything in town. There are a lot of grain elevators that are far larger than what this is. And you can obviously tell that it was a wood structure at one time, and then they placed that tin around it. But it is leaning big time. Some boards have popped off on it. Like I said, it's on the National Register of Historic Places. And there's a look at it. When you look at it from this side, you can't really tell that it's leaning too much. But it's when you get directly on the side of it that it's really bad. I'm getting bit by some horse flies or fire ants. I mean, it's really something. It's unbelievable that it's still standing. You know, we're in rattlesnake country, so I'm trying to pay attention to this, but also pay attention to any rattlesnakes that are on the ground. The very top up there, you'll notice that it says Tex-Co, T-E-X-C-O, Tex-Co. And then right there, it says Grain Company on the right. And what is that? W.B. John something Grain Company. Kind of hard to read with a glare. It's probably going to show up better on the camera, actually. The camera kind of dims stuff. I don't know, if you guys have ever seen anything like this before, let me know. I mean, that is a heck of a lean. You know, there's some pigeons up there living in that, so if they got a nest and that thing finally falls, they're in for a real big surprise. Like I said, there's some talk in the community, I guess, that they're trying to discuss what to do with this. Should they tear it down or not? It does bring quite a few photographers into the town to take pictures of it, and could be sort of a tourism deal, but at the same time it is a safety issue as well. It's going to be kind of sad when it's gone though, but eventually it will fall. Quite an angle, isn't it? The Leaning Tower of Oklahoma. There might be some leaning towers besides Oklahoma and over in Europe. This is definitely one right here. I'm trying to get some good angles of this, but I'm getting bit by some ants as well as some horseflies, so I'm really taking a lot to get some video of this, because I am currently being bit by a horsefly. And if you're from out of state and you don't know what a horsefly is, those things are huge. Not like a little housefly. It's pretty cool. Myers Hardware, Adams, Oklahoma. Store has the appearance that it's not open anymore. There's actually some calendars right there. One says 1994, and then I think the other one said 2002 or something. There's a heck of a glare on the window, but there's a light on back there. There's a lot of old stuff in there. These coffee pots and stuff look like they've been there a while. But it's some sort of old store. And it's got a sign that says closed, but it also has store hours right there. Now, if you notice the handle, it makes you think that it's still being used because it's kind of tarnished and worn off. The lock looks sort of newer, but that door is super old and needs to be painted. But when you look in here, there's just a bunch of old faded wood and boxes and stuff in the aisleways, like as if it's not being used anymore. It's all dusty. Look at this. I mean, that thing sat there for a while. It's advertising cookware, stainless steel revereware, world's finest utensils. And that thing looks like it's sat there since the 60s or something, maybe even before. But everything is really old looking in there. Lots of dust and dead bugs. So I'm really not sure if that's even being used anymore. And then this says, what? Gleaner, Baldwin Combines, that old neon light. There's no way this is being used anymore. All that dust and stuff just sitting there. It's just an old store. Still got a lot of old fixtures in it. Somebody had their plants in here and stuff, but it's still got like all the old parts. Old hardware parts or combine parts. Pretty cool old storefronts here though. Like I said, this is not a ghost town by any means. There are still people living here, and I assume farming and stuff like that, but certainly has the appearance that this store is no longer in operation. Also found this interesting. This is the old Baptist church. I have no idea on any history about it, but there would have been a bell up there, and don't think there's one there anymore, so it's probably fallen down in there, or maybe it was taken, because I know some people collect those bells. So whoever owns the church might have sold it. But there's no telling when the last time that this actually had a service in it. It's certainly been a lot of years, because they've got the windows boarded up on it. You'll notice right there on the side that it's all boarded up. Pretty cool old church. says it was the First Baptist Church in Adams. Even town, I noticed this bell, and this is in the middle of just kind of a circle park here. It's called Adams Community Park. It's kind of a baseball field there and some swings and stuff, but it got me thinking and wondering if this bell belonged to that church that we just saw. And I also noticed that there's a monument there, so I thought we would look. It's got a string. It's got it tied, I guess, to keep it from ringing with the wind. So here's the marker underneath. It says Adams School District number 88, 1931 to 1994. And the main marker at Hooker. Now Hooker is another town in the Panhandle. And I know it sounds kind of bad, but it really is a town. And then it says First Baptist Church Bell, Adams, Oklahoma. So that's what that is. That's the bell. So they haven't sold it, which is good, because that's a good part of the town's history. But it's really cool that it's still here. It's a good sized bell. The thing with these bells is there's certain manufacturers, and then there's numbers. See that? I don't know if you guys can see. I can zoom in. Now, I'm not a bell expert, but I had someone explain it to me one time. But how there's that number 21, 28 right there. There's certain numbers on there that tell you what kind of bell it is and how many miles away it can be heard. Now, this is a church bell, so you would want it to be heard from miles away. Kind of as a reminder of, hey, come to church. You guys are sinning. You need to be in church. And the bell's ringing and it's time. Where are you? But I'm not sure. Maybe if there's any bell experts out there, you can chime in below and see if those numbers mean anything to you. We're looking for some sort of manufacturer on it, but I don't see it. It just says number 28. Somewhere on there, there's probably some more designations and stuff like that on the top. So there are a few other things that are cool if you're a photographer. That's an old farm truck right there, like he would haul maybe hay or some kind of grain in or something. Just kind of sitting out in that field. There's a few other old vehicles, but that one's really old. Love finding stuff like that in tall grass and just thinking about how it was used before and what kind of person used it, how long they used it, stuff like that. Taking another look at this, it's just so unreal. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's unbelievable that it's not only leaning but twisted like that and still standing even with a good strong wind. And anytime they get rain up here or something, or some snow and some weight on that, because the Panhandle does get some crazy snow sometimes, it certainly makes you wonder how it withstands wet wood or the weight of the snow and wind, and then it's still standing. Every so often I keep hearing that creak and I keep thinking, oh, today's the day. It's gonna fall. But it's still standing. It'll be something to watch it fall though. I know it's gonna be sad, but create quite the spectacle as it falls and probably does damage to that building there. Shoot, pieces probably could fall this direction right here. Who knows? Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys next time.